a chance to come to Portland. We looked up about Portland, and it is one of the greenest cities in US. So we hope that our product would be appreciated people here because it's quite green, but how green we will see. So to start with, let's see what's happening in a plastic manufacturing industry. In the plastic industry, there's a high competition and there's low margin. So this gives them a pressure on the cost of the raw material. They're trying to use the recycled plastic, but because the cheap recycled plastic gives them a poor quality, this means there's a limitation on the usage. On the other side, the business side, business trying to be more sustainable, the sustainability trend. They try to use the recycled stuff, but because of the same reason, there's a limitation in the usage. With the plastic, 100% of the global plastic being used, 250 million tons of plastic is being used, and 85% of that is thrown away as waste. Not only that, waste tire. Each year, 800 million of tires being used, and 30% of that is improperly managed. This is abandoned waste. So we think that if we can recycle those stuff, those waste, then give the customer the same as goods at the same quality as the new one. So we can change this waste into a resource, but not only that. Each 1 ton of the plastic we're recycling, we can save 2,000 gallons of gasoline. And 1 ton of tires that we recycle, we can save 50 tons of carbon dioxide emission. And that can be converted into a dollar value as the carbon dioxide is being traded as a footprint. So RediGen sees that if we can use this material to recycle, we can solve both industry problem and environmental problem. We use the recycled powder and the recycled plastic pellet, put it together and use the technology of RediGen.
So what's special about our technology is that conventionally recycled tire rubber and recycled plastic cannot be mixed. But with our chemical additive synthesized in-house, it allows these two materials to be mixed homogeneously. In addition to that, we also need a specific mixing technique. This will allow two materials to mix homogeneously, complement each other's properties. These two are locked in by 2 pending patents and trade secrets. The IP is owned by Chulalongkorn University in Thailand, one of the top research university in Southeast Asia. And throughout series of negotiation, we have obtained exclusive licensing worldwide. We introduced RediGen.
You have a license in place or an option to a license?
We have license already.
Yes.
Yes, we have negotiated before we came here.
A multifunctional composite. RediGen boasts 3 values. Cost effective, we can provide to our customers lower price with the same quality or the same price with a higher quality. 2, green. It's made of all recycled materials and also itself recyclable. 3, multifunctional. We can customize our chemical additive to customize the properties of materials to better suit the end product of our customers. RediGen not only can mimic the properties of rubber, plastic, and wood, but also exceeds them, with the added benefit of, for example, fire and water resistance, and UV and temperature insulation. The properties is tested by MTech, Material Technology Center of Thailand, based on the ASTM standard, American Society for Testing Materials. And also, for the human safety, it's also tested based on the WHO's chemical release standard. And for the process, it's tested by Thailand Greenhouse Gas Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization, or TGO, based on the standards of IPCC's carbon footprint, Thailand Green Label, and EU flowers. RediGen has wide ranges of applications. For example, industrial applications, automotive, and construction.
inventors of RediGen are Dr. Swan. She is very respected in petrochemical field and RediGen board of director. And myself, Jinashia, is still working scientist and innovator. The research was started in 2001, supported by Chulalongkorn University and Entech is a Thai government fund. We found the new composite materials is called RediGen, and the first patent was filed. We developed and optimized customer for industry such as automotive and construction industry. Now, RediGen has 107 formula for industry. RediGen is ready to commercialize.
What is the current status of the patent that was filed in 2005?
Currently, it's in the third stage, which is the examination stage. So we're still waiting for that.
So
Where
in-
is that filed in Thailand?
Yes,
And
it's-
is there a, an international, patent filed as well?
The patent as 2005 was filed in Thailand. And to explain a little bit, in Thailand we have three stages in filing for the IP. Right now it's in the third stage, which usually take about 3 to 5 years, or sometimes a little bit longer. Because in Thailand we have because this is the chemical stuff, we kind of lack of the people who have to identify and grade all this stuff. So it would take longer in Thailand.
And has it been filed elsewhere in the world?
Not with the current formulas, but we'll get to that in our
Next
Thai
one.
cooperation. And she's also on board, which will help us develop new formulas, which will be filed under RediGen.
And their new formulas, new patents,
That's correct.
and the previous patents, won't be prior art.
Sorry.
There won't be anything disclosed in the previous patents that have already been filed, that would actually be part of, or be used in the second patent.
That would be, some part of that would be the same, but because the new formula would be add on some innovative process, that would be totally different from the first one.
So at this point in time, either the 2005 filings or the 2011 filings, haven't had international applications filed.
Yes.
So only something in the future will be filed internationally.
Yes, and would be under our company.
Sorry, let me add on a little bit. I'm guessing you're worried about if you'll be copied in the other places in the world. But actually, our process is a catalytic process, which cannot be reverse engineered. Therefore, we are pretty confident that it cannot be copied. And also, because of the 10 years of research, if they want to develop this, that we already have 10 years head start.
So you're saying then that the trade secrets that exist are better in protecting the technology than the patents that have been filed?
Because the trade secret is not only the chemicals, it's also the process as well. The inventor has to know when to add this stuff and when to add another chemical.
And how are you protecting the trade secret now?
Let me explain more about the chemical trade secret. Our chemical is the in-house synthesized with the catalytic process. This means everything you put in the chemical process, it didn't show when people want to reverse the engineer. All the chemical didn't exist there when you want to reverse. The catalytic process means when you put like more than 2 chemical additive together, you need some secret chemical to make it efficiently blend, to make it efficiently effective, This means the other cannot copy us, and also the process.
And I think your question would be on operation side as well, is that correct? To how to protect the secret. So on the operation side.
I will explain more in the operation side. Since now, our operation will consist two of the process, two major key machines that we need. First one is the mixer. We decide to go for the closed system mixer, one first objective is to protect the environment. We don't want anything in the mixer like rubber powder to leak out to the environment. Second, this is closed system and automatic mixer that will protect the recipe, the secret that what kind of chemical that we already apply to our employee, and also when to inject the chemical to the mix between rubber and plastic. So this is well protected.
Does that address your question?
One other question on how you formulate this and how you put it together. It sounds like, and I may be interpreting this wrong, that you will allow more use of the waste products than other techniques would. In other words, when plastic manufacturers take recyclable material, there is a limit to how much of that you can use. It sounds like this mixture, and I'm just trying to figure this out, the mixture of the rubber and the plastic actually allows you to utilize more of the waste material.
That is correct.
Is that correct, or?
Yes, but let me explain a little bit more. When you have the recycled plastic,
Yes.
the two key properties that drops is elasticity and impact strength, which can be complemented by the rubber, the recycled rubber.
I see. Okay, thank
We want to make sure to our customer that we can reach the property of the new plastic pellet, the virgin plastic. When we go out to reach our customer, we show like this, what we call it spec sheet.
you. Yes.
This thing, recycled plastic manufacturer cannot offer this to the plastic maker. But when the virgin plastic manufacturer go to the plastic maker, they can offer this thing, the specification of their product, which we capable to offer this thing. The property here, if you look at the black column here, is the property of the virgin plastic. And the green is our product. We can replicate, we can mimic the property of new virgin plastic pellet, even though we made from 100% recycled plastic. And that's come from our chemical additive.
Usually, plastic industry, they would add maybe 5 to 10% of the recycled plastic. They would usually add it into the production line without telling.
Yeah.
But the 5 or 10% is because that if they add more of that, then the property will change.
So we'll introduce you RediGen, a B2B solution where we will deliver our product in a pallet form. By doing this, it gives us a huge market potential. With the global plastic market size of $484 billion, Asia is account for 1/3 of that. Thailand alone is account for $12 billion. With our three primary target segments in Thailand, which are industrial appliance, automotive, and construction, it gives us the market value of $1.6 billion. For international market of Indonesia, Vietnam, and China, we will focus in automotive and construction, where it gives us $22 billion. Our strategy for the first 2 years is to have a strong foothold in Thailand, but we will go into all three markets. In first year, we will focus in industrial appliance, where the barrier to entry is low and the market is fragmented. The application in this industry are cement mixing tub, industrial pallet, and pipe. In year,
You talk about the barrier to entry is low. What is the barrier?
barrier to entry is low because we use all the 100% recycled plastic and the tire. Maybe the consumer don't have the perception or they don't have the strong confidence in our product. That's why it's a low barrier of
So
entry.
basically, it's a cost basis, so
Yes.
pricing is how
Yes.
you're going to enter.
May I add more information in this field? The main process they use to produce their products is the injection and extrusion process.
Okay.
What does this mean? Their cost structure, 40 to 60% of their cost structure is raw material. In some small to medium sized factory, it can go up to 80%. This means the raw material cost is very significant to them.
Thank you.
So in year 2, we will write, excuse me? In year 2, we will write on the higher margin segment. And we will focus in automotive and construction, where the barrier to entry is moderate to high. And the market is concentrated. Application for the automotive are mud slab, bumpers, and truck liner. For construction, the application include wood, plastic, composite material, and fiber cement. In year 3 onwards, we will go into international market by exporting into Indonesia, Vietnam, and China, with the main concentration in automotive and construction. Through the well-respected plastic trading company, which they have the branches all over the world, but more importantly, they have headquarters in all these countries that we would like to go. After we have talked to several manufacturers, we received a really keen interest for the product trial. For example, Bangkok Paibun Pipe, top 5 PVC and HDPE pipe manufacturer, they have a 300 tons in demand. And imagine, if we only can cover 10% of what they demanded, it's already give us 20% of our first year revenue. But not only that, we received a purchase order from Kung Siam Plastic, a pioneer industrial plastic product. They have an initial order of 20 tons at the value of $13,600.
To add on to that, 20 tons is only an initial order. What they actually demand is 200 tons per month. But they know that we don't have the capacity to supply for them yet. But if we can, there is a demand waiting for the supply. And if we can cover the supply and provide to them, it already generates revenue of $800,000 in the first year, which already covers 100% of our first year projection.
And you know what? 2 weeks ago, we went and tested our product sample at their factory at Kung Siam Plastic. And they're so keen to have our product that by next morning, they sent us this purchase order. What makes them so excited about our product is that our product can help them save raw material cost by 5%. And 5% is a significant number for this industry because it's a cost-driven market. Because 70% to 80% of their total cost is their raw material cost. Our product can help them increase the net profit margin by 2 to 3 times.
What do you believe their supplier today? Are they using one supplier today? And what do you think the reaction of that
They use
supplier is?
several suppliers,
Okay.
but what happened in this industry is like they're beating the other by cost.
Okay.
Yes, but and we see that our product, we have a lower cost structure. We can supply to them at least 5%. This means the other cannot do it because you need to mark up to the market price now.
Okay. So you don't think they got the
No.
wherewithal to
Yes.
get their cost down? Okay.
But your product, has, higher quality, better properties.
Yes, because
How
we
does that-
can.
And how does that relate then, to the product that they make? Yeah, and the benefit to their customers? Does that allow them to be more competitive, to actually charge a higher premium? I mean, what's the impact to the
As-
downstream?
One of the benefits of RediGen is it's cost effective, which means we can just match the properties of what they're using currently with a lower price. So, for example, if Kung Siam Plastic that we already received the purchase order, if they use a recycled grade plastic, we can just match the recycled grade properties and also provide with a lower cost because one of our main component is a recycled tire rubber, which is significantly lower. The cost is significantly lower than the recycled plastic.
So our product is able to customize. For example, in the automotive or constructions, the later stage, we sell it at a higher margin because they provide them better quality.
To add on to that, one of our potential customers, they mentioned one thing about when they use virgin plastic pellet, the defect rate, their defect rate is lower than 1%. But when they try to blend with the recycled plastic, their defect rate go up to more than 4%. But with our product, we can supply them at the same property of the virgin plastic. This means they can keep lower than 1% defect rate.
To add on to that, our product can be applied in the same injection and extrusion process. So they don't have to change any process or minimum changing by only changing the temperature. That's why they are really interested in our product.
what's some of the thinking behind the access to the recycled products, the tires and plastics? Are you sure of a longer-term substantial supply of both of those? And how do you go about getting
There are balanced supply out there. We need two major components in order to produce RediGen. First, rubber powder. Now, we already have 4 suppliers that will process the waste tire to rubber powder for us. With combining of these 4 today, they're capable to supply more than 20,000 tons per year. But we need only half of that at the end of year 5. Second, recycled plastic. Now, we already have this A company, this A supplier in relationship. They will process waste plastic to recycle plastic pellet for us. This is the main 2 components.
Does that answer?
That's
So, in front of you here is the list of our
That's my
customers.
question, because just, in terms of the suppliers and the cost to them, to hold inventory, of their, supply. Is there any cost to them, to hold that?
You mean our cost to hold inventory?
No, the supplier. As your demand grows, right, and they actually would, basically play, supply and demand game with you. So that
Now,
you make it more difficult for you to be able to obtain the supply while they increase the price.
no, from what we discussed with them, now they are running at only 40 to 60% of their capacity. This means that there's no demand out there for recycled plastic and also recycled rubber powder. This means when we generate more demand for them, they are willing to supply us.
Is your concern is on the cost side or the capacity?
No, it's on the cost side.
On the cost side, so for example, the tire, we have run the sensitivity analysis. If the cost of tire increase up to 20 or 30%, that would affect our net margin only 7 to 8%. For the other side, the other raw material is the plastic. But because the plastic is quite commodity, if the price of the cost increase, then the selling prices increase as well along the same line. So we see that there's a buffer for us to respond to the increasing in the cost of the raw material.
And to elaborate a little bit more, our pricing strategy is to mark down from the plastic market price. Therefore, even if the supply increase cost, that means in the market, the plastic supply to the plastic manufacturers, the cost also increase. But plastic is only one component of our material. Therefore, we can mark down from there.
In front of you here is the list of the customers we have been contacted. As we mentioned earlier, Siam Plastic, a pioneer industrial plastic product, they requested us the purchase order already. And Thai Superware, one of the biggest industrial appliance manufacturer in Southeast Asia, they request us 200 kilograms of the product trial. Bangkok Paibun Pipe, top 5 HDPE pipe manufacturer in Thailand, they request us another 100 kilograms of the product trial. Hong Jalon, we have successful in-house tests, and now the commercialized testing is underway. Overall feedback from our customer is really positive, and they have a strong confidence in our product. As one of the senior factory directors of Thai Superware, one of the biggest plastic manufacturer in Southeast Asia, he mentioned that he confident that our product can be used in industrial pallet injection. For Windsor, one of the biggest plastic, actually it's the biggest plastic in that manufacturer for the construction product. He said that we can replace our raw material in the wood substitution product line. And actually, Windsor is a subsidiary of SCG, Siam Commercial Siam Cement Group, and they are one of the biggest petrochemical in Southeast Asia. So we have been in contact with them and negotiation about the plastic property, the product properties. So right now, we are in the current state of negotiation. After we go back to Thailand, we will send them the test sample and we will start negotiation more and we will be able to secure the purchase order within time.
RediGen, we are a strong team with also inventor on board. Here, our CEO, Metis, our visionary CEO. Here, Georgia, the inventor of the RediGen. She has more than 10 years experience in material research. She's capable. She can bring further development to RediGen. And I have strong experience in tire industry and also production line management. I'm capable to bring this product from the lab scale to industrial scale. We also have another co-inventor, Dr. Supuan, as we mentioned earlier. She is not only well respected in Thailand, but also in Southeast Asia level. She is president of Federation of Asian Chemical Society. We also have board of advisors in various fields. For example, the chairman of the Federation of Thai Industry, the president of Italian Thai Development, which is one of the biggest construction company in Thailand. He's capable to support us to penetrate construction market. As I mentioned earlier, abundant supply from both of recycled rubber and recycled plastic. We buy recycled rubber, powder, and recycled plastic to blend to the RediGen. We have in-house production facility. Not only produce, we also can customize formulation to match our customer need. Now, we also have the new formulation development in our pipeline for the next type, for another type of plastic, which will be patented under RediGen. Two key machines and the process that we need, mixer and palletizer. As I mentioned earlier, the mixer, we want to keep our trade secret in-house production. And the palletizer, we want to supply plastic maker in the pallet form, as on the sample that we gave you earlier, to make sure that there will be no switching costs for plastic maker. With combining of these two, we aim to go up to 68,000 tons capacity production per year at the end of year 5. We will outsource the logistic part to the third party, which we already have this 4 company in contact, in relationship. Not only they are a good company, but also they have good relationship with a group of plastic maker. Our production facility will locate in this area in Thailand. This area, there are more than 35% of plastic maker located, and also our supplier. I would like to show you this picture. We already have a relationship with our customer. We go there into the factory. What we test is when they're running their production line, we ask them to switch to our product and continue the production line to prove, to make them confident that there will be no switching cost for them. Another one, we can produce in the lab scale, yes, at 1 kilo, 5 kilo, but we want to make sure that we are capable to scaling up the production. So we rent the facility, the mixing facility, and we go to test the scale up. Now, we already test the scale up at 200 kilograms per mix per batch to make sure that we want to go up to 1 ton. With this scaling up, there is only like minor adjustment on our chemical, and we're capable to do that since we have the inventor on board with us. Also, this is one of our customers, as we mentioned earlier, Thai Superwear. This is like very big machine, like double size of this room. The capacity of this machine is more than 20 tons per day, and they are willing to replace their raw material with by RediGen. Here, we also visit the site of our supplier since we are afraid that there will be no enough of the supply side. We visit to the supplier sites to see that, to create relationship with them. One of our supplier from for the recycled plastic, they also not only own 2 factories of recycled plastic producer, they also have waste separator site. We also visit them to make sure that the recycled plastic that we buy, it will come in a good quality.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you're producing on a small scale in a laboratory type of setting. You've just now went up to your second machine, which is the one that does is the next size up, but you still haven't scaled to the large machine yet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I see that you have $784,000 in revenue for this year. How are you going to do that? So you don't, so the mixer isn't made yet or even assembled, I would guess. You still have to look at what the new, whatever changes you might need to make as you scale up the formula. How are you going to get to 784,000 this year?
The first point is that we already scaled up to 200 kilograms. I understand because we are so afraid like you that, hey, if we scale up to 1 ton, what will happen? But we see that 200 kilograms is halfway already. You adjust, and with the inventory and then working with customers and suppliers, we work up to 1 ton with capable capacity. For the machine, the revenue projection can require only 1 production line. And the lead time for ordering the machine would be not less than 1 month. So include the time of installation, we need 1 month to set it up. That
From-
one.
So
From the day zero, we need 60 days in order to produce.
Yes, and the revenue projection start from the July.
and you already have the financing you need to do that?
That's why we need your investment. Invest in the machine. That's the only reason you're
So this
missing.
is, so the assumptions are based on getting the financing done today.
Yes, and the revenue projection based on the second half of the year. And as my friend mentioned that the PO that we already received, they require 200 tons each month. For the rest of the 6 months we have, total it up, it's the 100% of the first year projection. And we're not having only contact with the 1 customer. So that revenue is covered by only 1 customer.
Okay. So this is best case scenario, because you're going all the way from 784,000 all up to 6 million the next year. So it's a quick ramp.
Because the second year we also enter into automotive and construction. So the second year will be 3 markets with a 2 higher margin. While the first year we try to enter into the test market, only 1 with a lower margin.
This is all in Thailand.
Thailand. On the 3rd year, we will enter into Vietnam, Indonesia, and China.
Okay.
So let me add a little bit about scaling up. I'm sorry, that was time.
Okay, to make you more confident on our scaling up, we also look up to see the factory. This is what our factory will be. We plan to rent the factory. We invest only for the machine. There are 5 factories we are negotiating for now.
Question?
Yes.
You're solving an environmental problem using existing materials that are not being fully utilized otherwise. You're providing, through your proprietary technology, a better margin, higher quality at the same price, or lower quality, or the same quality at a lower price. The special sauce here is the thing, the fact that you have something that nobody else has. Would you consider licensing the technology to allow for this to get into larger markets faster and not try and do all these other manufacturing yourself, but rather turn it over to other companies that are better equipped to accelerate their growth?
So, we have actually considered that as well, but the licensing model will be done when we have the patent under our company, which is, as he mentioned, there's one formula already developing under our pipeline. But for the current formula that we have the exclusive right, but we don't have the licensing right from the university. Therefore, we have to do it ourselves.
So once you get this other new patent under there, then you could do a licensing.
Yes.
And would you do it as licensing, or would you do it as a franchise model?
We are thinking of joint ventures. So it's more like because they also need our expertise in terms of when they produce. Therefore, I think a joint venture is a better model for us.
So as you have seen the revenue projection, we expect to reach, we will reach $70 million in year 5. And why? Because the plastic industry is huge. And because as we show that there's no switching cost for the customer. The customer is using injection machine, extrusion, they can use the same process, the same machine. And the product that we're providing look exactly the same. We know that customers like to change, but not much. So we give them what they want. Second reason is that we have 3 big markets to enter. For the first year, as I mentioned, $800,000 is only one customer, but we are not having only one contact with customers. So with the capacity of one production line, we can cover that for sure. The second year, we enter into automotive and construction markets, the higher margin markets. The third year, we enter into overseas. We enter into Indonesia, Vietnam, and China. In Thailand, we have the program supported by government called the BOI, or the Board of Investment, because government want to give an incentive for the business to be located in Thailand. So with this, RediGen falls under the criteria that they are looking for. We can get a maximum of 7 years no income or corporate income tax, and maximum of 5 years no machinery import tax as well. Today we are asking for $2 million for the 20% equity, 1 out of 5 board seats. The use of the fund will be used in most of the 2 years, the first year and second year, on the machinery, working capital, and factory rent. We also offer.
Where are you thinking to go with the $2 million? Who are your investments? Who are your investment targets?
The fund would be to invest in machineries.
No, I know what you're going to use the funds for. Who are you going to go get the funds from? Is there some specific focus that you have and where you'll get?
We have negotiated with some investors in Thailand, and we are also looking for investors that have an experience in the plastic industry. It's because we are looking for the expertise in the marketing or in the industry field as well.
Not only that, we also look for investors overseas because we want to establish a strong network overseas as well in the industry.
So we offer 2 exit options. The first one would be M&A. The potential acquirer would be Dow Chemical, PTT or Petrochemical Thai State-owned company, and SCG, Siam Cement Group, the largest petrochemical in Thailand. Why SCG and why PTT? These 2 big companies already used to approach our inventor for this technology because they see that this could be a threat for their technology. But why? But why didn't she sell? Because the inventors see that the big company buy it to keep the technology, there's no value added. You might wondering why would they buy the technology and keep it inside? Because in Thailand, the sustainability trend is not a big trend yet. So the big company not want to change the way they are doing. So this is why the inventor sees that if we together we create a new company and we push into the market, there will be more value added to the product. The second option is the IPO. The PE of 6 and a market value of 93 million. So okay, let me summarize why RediGen. The first, we are the game changer. As I mentioned, the plastic industry has a high competition and low margin. Using our material would be the first step we want to take. Second one, we secure supply. We have the contact with suppliers. We know their capacity. We already have the relationship with them. 3, customers line up. They're so ready to use our product, but we don't have the capacity to provide for them. 3, technology and operations are proven. We have inventory on board, and the operations already halfway proved there. But the strong management team, as I mentioned, with the inventory on board, we already have a new formula in the pipeline to be launched in the future. So what are we missing in the center? Your investment. With that, we can generate a success to our company. And we know that together you and RediGen, we can give to bring to the environment, a green environment and a green notes. Thank you.
Can you tell me, what's your biggest fear? What's the thing that worries you most about this that you think might not work or might go wrong?
So in the short run, the biggest risk is probably the scaling up, but we are confident that we can do that because our inventor, as maybe you have asked earlier, like if there's any risk in scaling up, So our inventor, she has experience in consultancy for the biggest conglomerates in Thailand. The names that has been mentioned, SCG and PTT, she has provided consultancy for those firms already. So that's our short-term risk, but we can overcome it. And also our long-term risk would be entering into international market. It might be difficult for us because maybe the logistics or the barrier into exportation or importation for those countries. But we have also did a sensitivity analysis if we cannot enter international market, but we can still survive.
So the channel that we are planning to is to go with our customers because for example, Tile are big customers. They are almost the biggest in the Asia. They also export to other countries as well. So one channel is to go with them. We sell to them and we export with them. The second choice is to go through traders. So they already have the channel. We just make a connection, start from Thailand, and let them spread out the channel. So that's what we are looking for in the financial statements. That's the way that valid for us at this point.
And to add on,
Is there any option for customer investment?
Customers.
For the plastic
Yes.
product.
Yes.
We
Just, obviously, anytime you can get customers to pay up front or do something so that you can scale, you have a couple of advantages from that standpoint. I just wondered if that is even a concept.
Actually, that is also one of the options, but we are carefully considering it. As mentioned earlier, the Thai Super, one of the biggest plastic product producers in Thailand, has already shown interest in co-ingesting with us. But at the same time, we are also concerned about if there will be a conflict of interest in terms of our pricing and what they want to obtain from us and so on. So we are also considering it, but we will have to study more into detail.
so for the long-term trend that you are asking, we have already been contacted the well-respected plastic trading company, and now we are under negotiation with them about the terms and commission. So we have no worry about it because we are sure that we can export our product through their channel because they have branches all over the world. But more importantly, they have the headquarters in all those 3 countries that we want to go: Indonesia, Vietnam, and China.
On the purchase order, for 20 tons, is that, payable? When is that payable? How is that payable? All, after delivery or what?
Oh, you mean the credit term we are giving to customers?
Yeah.
That's on what we are planning is within 60 days, which is a normal term in Thailand.
But it's after delivery,
Yes.
so you have to have working capital.
Yes.
Yes, that's part of the working fund as well.
So the CapEx numbers, these mixers must not be very expensive, huh?
Yes, the palletizer is more expensive.
How much are they?
The one we're going for, the mixer, the quotation is 100,000 US, and for the mixer, and for the palletizer is 133,000 per one unit.
So those are in your 2015 numbers?
You mean the CapEx that we are buying for the machine? Yes. Within the first 2 years, we only have 1 to 2 production lines. Most of the CapEx would be occurred in the later years, but within that 3 to 5 would be supported by our cash because we can generate cash by that.
Also in this CapEx, there also includes the setup costs and other costs to set up the factory as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why those numbers don't match. Okay.
You talk about, ongoing R&D and development, but I don't see that in the number.
We put it in a fixed asset as a laboratory. We invest
depreciating it?
Yes,
Or amortizing it over?
as a part of the equipment, as a part of the laboratory. So the first investment would be in the first year, and then third year.
Okay, thank you very much.